Welcome, students. And in this class, we are planning to talk about information communication revolution. And before that, I want to briefly talk to you about the syllabus and what can you expect from this class. So this is my first clip for the day. I have a decent amount of experience as a television journalist working both in India as well as in the United States. I have had the chance to interview thousands of people from all walks of life. And I do have a PhD in mass communication media arts. And I am here at Westchester University in the Department of Communication Studies. And I'm really happy to share some of my views and outlook of life and about mass communication with all of you. And this is one of my first ever shoot. And remember back in those days, I used to have a cameraman, a camera assistant, and a driver. And I can go around the city anywhere on a topic that is approved by my editor, and I have to finish the shoot by the end of the day. So I have been used to working on deadlines. And I also want to welcome the students. We have Alexis, Elizabeth, Tara, Diane, Mia, Sarah, Allison, Anthony, Emily, Austin, Alexia, Jared, and again Sarah. There are two Sarahs in this class. That's why I said Sarah M and Sarah. And yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of this class. And I really want to know each and every one of you by the end of this course. So that I just want to be with you in terms of growing along with the class, as well as to kind of have a better outlook of what mass communication is all about. And one of the things I want to talk to you is about, I also believe in kind of encouraging the students to pursue this course seriously. So every week I'm planning to have winners announced in this class, so that I just want to kind of motivate you, and also kind of acknowledge the kind of effort that you put in. I totally understand taking a summer class is kind of little difficult, because imagine, like, we're having like 15-week class, and all of a sudden you have to finish this in like 5 weeks. And again, summer is a great time to be outdoors, but it is what it is, people. We have to kind of reach our goals. And the one thing I can tell you is, try to be time conscious in terms of trying to finish my chapters, readings, or class tests and other journal work. So it's essential to be a little more sincere in terms of setting aside time for this class. And I mean, I can only tell you this, it's all up to you to kind of put these things in action. So this is my syllabus, and this is what I've got. You can connect with me on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, on Facebook. And what one of the components of this class is, I also want you to be expressing your views and ideas about this class on any of the social media. And I've also given some hashtag. You can do that. I usually prefer, I think Twitter is a great place to kind of use hashtags and share your ideas. If not, we can always do with IG or Snapchat or Facebook, whichever is convenient for you. And again, if you're very hesitant to be about in social media, it's all right, no problem. You can also share your views on your learning journal, as well as I will be doing an interview online, which I can connect with you through Adobe Connect. And this is for those who don't want to use social media platform to interact and connect about the content for this class. So it's totally up to you. I'm very flexible, so don't hesitate to reach me out anytime. And the second thing is, the required textbook for this class is Shirley Biaggi, An Introduction to Mass Media, 12th edition. And I know some people will be doing some physical versions or e-copies or whatever, but I'm going to give you 1 week time, because I really understand, I've been in that position. So I have uploaded chapter readings for 3 chapters, so that you should have a decent amount of time to get your books by then. And again, I'm trying to be as flexible as possible, so please try and make use of that. The second thing is, this is how you will be graded for this class. There is going to be 3 term exams. I mean, 2 term exams and 1 final exams. You will have reading quizzes after every chapter, and you will also have class test after every class. I know it sounds daunting, but I think it's a very good way for you to have a good mastery over the materials that we discuss. And there is also a learning journal, which I also want you to start thinking about. You can click on some of the links that I post on Syllabus, so that you can have better understanding. And I've also partnered you with another student, so that you can share your journals, so that you can also kind of see what others have a perspective on certain chapters and on certain aspects and certain topics and issues. And again, I'm also going to be giving points on social media, so that is something that you want to be serious about, where you can use the social media for fun as well as do it on a very effective way to also have a better grasp of understanding of topics and content. And this is how the course is structured. It's going to be 100% online, and I'm going to present the class recordings on D12 much before the day, so that you have ample time. And it's be posted from Monday to Friday, and there'll be test at the end of every class. So try to be very focused and uh, pay attention to what's being said in the discussion or in the class recordings. And again, there is going to be a learning journal and also the social media aspect for this class as well. So I guess you should be having a fairly decent amount of idea of what you can expect from this class. And again, if you have any concerns or questions, don't ever hesitate to get in touch with me. So I've got everything very clearly scheduled in the course schedule. We have 5 weeks, and we're going to cover 16 chapters, and those are the due dates for your readings. And again, don't be intimidated by the term exams. Trust me, it's going to be very simple, and I know this term exam will be much different from the regular term exams that you're used to. So don't be worried. I want you to enjoy the process, okay? So and that's the aim for each and every of my class and module. So don't be kind of scared or intimidated by all this kind of work. And again, understand, if you're going to have a kind of structure in your class, that is also going to be helpful for you in your life after education as well. So that's about it. So let's get started with this class. Basically, this is a picture of a tablet from 5000 BC. So almost 5000 years back, people used these tablets. This is a clay tablet from Egypt, where what this pretty much does is, when people throng to a certain place, they will have some kind of instruction of what they can expect from this place. And again, sometimes it can be used for understanding the stores or the stories from those period, and lots of other purposes. So basically, it was a means of transmitting information to a wider audience back in those times. This is a tablet which is a screenshot from recently, which I took. It's a Samsung tablet, where you can see a number of things that you can do with the tablet. You can check your email, you can browse a lot of information, you can watch movies, you can connect with your friends, you can watch video, you can play games. I mean, it's endless. So you understand the possibility. So the tablet has come a long way from 5000 BC till now, where at the end of the day, it's all about how people use information. That's it. And this is one of the photograph which I took back in the early part of the 2000, when his name is Glorious Steve, and he was a Catholic priest. And he told me, man, I'm working in a tribal area, and I think you got to explore this place with me. So we went there. We had to walk about like several miles in the forest. We had to crawl through bushes and go across waterfalls, and we managed to come at this point. It was a very beautiful cave, and there's a lot of other cave drawings and illustrations on these caves. See, I guess this is basically he's trying to explain to me that how people used to throng around a campfire and dance and have barbecue and all that stuff, and it has withstood the passage of time. So imagine the kind of material that they have used to kind of draw on these rock, and it's managed to survive so many years, thousands of years probably. And I think people used to express their ideas back in those days when the rock was the canvas. And I also want to share with you some of the things that people used to do back in those days to communicate. And again, it's very important to understand how information is always crucial, because we take the information these days for granted. But I just want you to put things in perspective how people were craving for information and communication back in those days. So this is an example. This is a guy called Pheidippides. He was a Greek messenger. What in those earliest days messenger meant was, these were people, typically they run from one place to another giving information. For instance, I'm going to say, hey, go and tell this to another king who's about like 20 miles away from me, and he will run and give the message to them, and in turn they will say something and he will pass it on to their king. And in this case, Pheidippides was a Greek messenger where he was actually running from one place to another to tell about the fact that the Greeks have won in a war against some group. And he ran for several miles, and he delivered the message saying the Greek have won, but he died. And to honor him, I think that's what we call this present day marathon, where people run for various causes. But it's actually named after this guy, Pheidippides, who actually gave this news that the Greek have won at a place called Marathon. And again, that's then it's history. It was a part of Olympics, and people still do marathon race. We do a full marathon and half marathon and all that. And that's the way people honor Pheidippides right now. And again, this is a point that people had to physically run several miles from one place to another to transmit the information. And there are many civilizations where when they used kind of their natural resources to kind of pass information. For instance, I think many of you would have seen Lord of the Rings franchise. I'm a big fan of Peter Jackson, and that is a very, very good franchise, Lord of the Rings. And in one of the trilogy, where they will have to pass the information from one place to another, and they have to burn or put fire in one of the towers so that they know there's an impending danger. And a lot of Native Americans and in many civilizations, they used fire and smoke to alert danger. So that's how they used to communicate back in those days, where they have to pass the information to some tribe hundreds of miles away. And this was a very effective way where fire and smoke were used to signal some kind of danger. And see, just to kind of give an insight, in many civilizations, sound is also connected with something that people can relate with. For instance, this is called a conch. When one tribe is waging a war against another tribe, they use this conch. When they sound this conch, they know they're going to come and attack you. So likewise, in the present days, we still are kind of understand how sounds sometimes mean trouble. Can someone think of a sound that can mean trouble to you? Think of something. Okay, I will let you know. My idea will be a cop pulling you over. Okay, the moment the red and blue light goes off with the siren, I know that, man, it's not going to be a good day for me. So that's a sound of trouble, right? Getting us pulled over. So we still rely on some of the sounds that sense some kind of trouble. Or sometimes when someone is trying to kind of cut you over the road, people honk. That's a kind of saying like no, something bad. And also again, these are way where sounds can be used to communicate information. So I thought that's also a good way that these are the things that still exist. And again, people sometimes use drums to communicate information. So one nice story that I wanted to share with you was a king in the ancient times. His name was Akbar. He actually was expecting a baby, but his wife was about 500 miles from where he was, and he wanted the news as soon as possible. Back in those days, there was no way other than way that people can travel from one place to another to give the information. So what he did was he kind of used this very resourcefully. What he did was he placed a drummer every 10 miles, and for one sound it meant a boy, and for two sound it meant a girl. So by the time she had the baby, he was able to get the news about his baby within few minutes, because of his very resourceful way of using sound and drums to find out what exactly the gender of the baby was. Because back in those days, having a boy baby is very important to continue lineage, because if they had a girl or something, then invariably it has to go to someone next in line who has a boy, so that he can rule the kingdom. So these are some of the things I thought is very interesting and I wanted to share with you. And people used birds. I think I don't know how many of you are a big fan of Game of Thrones, where they used ravens, and in some civilization they have used doves and pigeon, and no wonder it's called tweet. So I mean, I thought it was kind of something not new. It's been there for ages. And there's something called homing pigeons where they were trained to deliver messages. Whether you look at the civilization in China or India or Egypt, they all used all these kind of birds and trained them to get information as fast as possible. And this was back in those days, like hundreds and thousands of years back. But you will be surprised that even in recent times, pigeons were used to carry important messages. For instance, this is a kind of a photograph from World War where they used to carry these pigeons so that they can get some timely information to their allies and their probable destination. And this is a kind of screenshot that I took, that even this was in the 20th century, where pigeons were officially used even by the post office in England. I thought that's still interesting, and it's kind of we have to see what's the best and efficient way to get the information across. And this gives you a timeline of the various kind of communication revolution that happened way back from 3500 BC and up until now. See, look at how we come from. We discussed about the pictographs or carved in stones, and the Egyptians invented papyrus, which is nothing but the earliest form of paper. And the first information communication revolution is supposed to be phonetic writing, and second is movable type, or I would say printing press, and the third is digital computers. And we have also got a number of other important information communication revolution over the years from 3500 BC up until now, but we have definitely come a long way. And let's discuss about the three important information communication revolution. I hope I'm going at a decent pace, but if I'm going too fast or too slow, please do let me know at the end of the presentation. Okay, let's play a game, okay? I want you to take a guess. To reach 50 million users, how long do you think telephone would have taken? Radio, television, internet, Facebook, and iPod and AOL, and some of the apps. Just give it a shot. Let's see whether you're close or not. Obviously, you can see from telephone to the apps, we have definitely come a long way. And I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. Okay, so let's get started. See, it took about 75 years for telephone to reach 50 million people. And as you can see, radio took about 38 years, and television it took about 13 years, and it took about 4 years for World Wide Website, and Facebook 3.5 years. And you can look at Pokemon Go, it took about only 90 days to reach 50 million users. So this kind of gives you how fast things are reaching out to people. Okay, so this is what it's important for all of us to remember, that how technology is able to reach a wider audience at a very short pace. And this all has happened in the last 100 years, and it has been really kind of phenomenal. So let's discuss about the three important information communication revolution. The first one is phonetic writing. What is phonetic writing? It is the use of symbols to represent sound. So back in those days, people were like, talking and all that, dog and tree. But then they thought, maybe I think we should try to kind of give some representation for these vowels and sounds in writing so that it's easy for us to kind of store the information. And that's what happened. They started giving symbols to the sound, and that actually laid the foundation for writing. There are many civilizations where they have come up with their own writing. The Egyptians, the Chinese, and all the other civilizations, they have their own form. And we have definitely come a long way. There are so many languages around the world now. And not only writing is a great thing, but also they also get a nice material, because back in those days people were using leaves of trees. People were kind of making some using skin of animals by processing them and writing on top of that. And they were using, rocks and clay and lots of, they were experimenting with lots of other stuff. And this actually helped in the storing of information, because just to give you an example, back in those days when people are farming in agriculture, okay, we have to sow on this type, on we have to reap it on this day, and so many other things. So these were information that was passed from one generation to another generation orally. But when after writing came into place, they all started storing this information. Okay, January is the best time to kind of sow the seeds, and maybe March is a good time to harvest. So all these things, when it was at writing, it had the ability for the information to be stored. And that was so awesome, because people didn't have to um store the stuff in their memory anymore. So that became a lot of easy for the people to store information, because they don't have to remember everything, and sometimes it becomes tedious. So storing information became cheaper. And people don't have to rely on oral tradition anymore. And that is the one of the major milestone in terms of phonetic writing. The ability to store information in writing made it cheaper, and it also kind of gave convenience for the people. And as I told you, printing, it was the again second information communication revolution, and it happened about 15th century. I think it is about 1450s or something. And I also forgot to let you know that the information communication relation phonetic writing dates back to between maybe 2000 to 3000 years ago, because some historians feel every civilization has their own phonetic writing way, but it's kind of generally around 2000 to 3000 years back. So it almost took about 1,000 years or 1500 years to come to where they were in terms of information communication revolution. So in the mid 15th century, around 1415 to 1455, Gutenberg came up with this mobile type, which was a phenomenal, which was kind of, it kind of revolutionized how information was stored. Because as we told earlier, writing made storage possible and easy, but printing made it things not only storing efficiently, but also it become portable. For instance, they can kind of print about 2 or 3 books a day, because pre Gutenberg, for instance, if they have to duplicate a Bible or reproduce a Bible copy, it would take a scribe around 1 year to make one copy. So imagine, not only making a copy is a tedious process, but they can also make mistakes. You can kind of make some spelling errors or miss a line. So there is a lot of room for human error pre Gutenberg. But Gutenberg invention of the printing press kind of completely changed how things happen. They were able to reproduce or duplicate 3 or 4 copies a day, and it became more easy. Not only the storing the knowledge was easy, but also it become portable. And again, this not only made it portable, but also knowledge was accessible to many, because back in those days, people who were not educated or literate, they only relied whatever was told in the church. They will just nod their heads and think everything is, they know the priest and the clergyman, they knew everything. But once knowledge became portable, it also became accessible, and the people started questioning the authorities. Why are certain things this way? Why should I do this way? Why is the things are being done this way? Because they felt that they were being exploited by the upper class. So this also completely changed how things happened in the society. People started questioning the church, and that's what also led to the breakaway of the Christianity into Protestants after the invention of printing press, and also completely changed how society perceived life itself. So again, printing press is considered to be the second information communication revolution, and the third important revolution was the computer technology. Around 1950s, computers had the ability to store and transmit vast amounts of information because, again, for instance, knowledge was portable post Gutenberg, but in the computers, not only it became portable, but also in terms of the amount of information that can be stored had become so vast, and they thought it's important to have this kind of technology because they were able to store uh, tons of information online and also retrieve it at any time. And that is considered to be the third important information communication revolution. And the fact is, the faster transmission of not only more information but also to more people, that's considered vital in terms of computer technology. And we have definitely come a long way from the 1950s in terms of the ability to process information. They say the computers that was sent to the moon, the capability of those computers was so minimal. Right now, our phone has much better computer processing capabilities than you can think of. So just to kind of put things in perspective, that we have definitely come a long way in terms of ability to store as well as transmit information to a wide audience. So just to kind of briefly talk the three major information communication revolutions. Around 2000 to 600 BC is considered to be phonetic writing. About the mid 15th century is considered to be the movable type or the printing press. And then mid 1950s or the mid 20th century, the computers were considered to be the third important information communication revolution. So I guess I will wind up my lecture for the day, and I posted some questions in your D2L. So feel free to go through that and upload your answers at the earliest. These are my questions. What do you think is the most important landmark in the time frame of the evolution of communication? How long does it take for a scribe to copy a Bible prior to printing press? And how people used to communicate before writing. Write a story of how people use their natural resources to help them communicate. Any story that we discussed, any one of the stories you can talk about, and why writing was an important communication revolution. Again, there are no word limit for these questions. I really want you to have a better understanding of what it is. So feel free to write your opinion or reviews, and also use this as a kind of a lens to also write your learning journals. There is also a link about the learning journal. Go through that, try to kind of see what works for you, and make sure you also post some of your views on learning journals regularly so that you can see how you have come from day one. I hope this class was pretty interesting. We discussed two important things. We discussed about the syllabus, and we also discussed about the three important information communication revolution.